And as Pastor Blackman was saying just now, so much has changed. We have to adapt to a new normal in so many ways. And it is even doubtful if we will ever get back to doing some of the things that we were used to. So this evening's topic is etiquette in a COVID-19 environment. And I also want to join with congratulating Danielle. And I also want to congratulate Sister Alder's grandson, also sadly 11 plus. So congratulations to all of you. Now this evening, I want to share my screen. Please be patient with me, young people. This is the first time with me sharing screen thing. So please let me know if you can see. Can everybody see?
Yes, please. We can see. You probably just need to put it into slideshow, but it's a very attractive PowerPoint.
Put it in slideshow.
Yeah. Just click slideshow at the top.
Mm-hmm. Sure, I am seeing slideshow. Is it okay for me to click and come down?
Yeah, you can do it there. Okay, yeah, that's fine. If you don't see it at the top, that's fine. There might be a bar or something. Your Zoom bar might be hiding it. So unless you know how to lift it out the way, you probably wouldn't see it. But anyway, we can see what you have there.
Okay, all right, fine.
It is right on top on the red line, on the red at top. The red bar at top.
All right. Okay. Thank you. I will click and calm down. So etiquette in a COVID-19 environment. What is etiquette? Anybody tell me this session is going to be very interactive. I'm not going to do all of the talking, please. So I'm going to be expecting to hear some voices and get lots of feedback. Or the Harvey that you were inquiring about, Pastor Blackman, is Sister Shirley's household.
Oh, I see.
So that is 6 persons from that household that is on.
Okay, I see. Okay, wonderful. That will help us in our attendance. Thank you so much.
Exactly. So anybody want to tell me, first of all, what is etiquette? It says etiquette in the COVID-19 environment. It seems like a pretty big word, but it is a very simple meaning. Anybody want to guess what etiquette is? Okay. Etiquette is a set of rules governing the proper or polite way to behave or to do something, or basically it is good manners. So you see, it's just one big fancy sounding word, but in essence, it has a very simple meaning. So now that we know what etiquette is, one question we may ask ourselves is, do manners matter during a pandemic? And my biased opinion is, of course, they matter. Manners always matter. Okay, always matter. And overcoming a pandemic, it requires certain behaviors in society. All right. So before we just jump right in, I think that we should know something about what we are going to, if we are going to be defending ourselves, we should know something about what we are going to be defending. So we are in a pandemic, okay? So what is a pandemic? What is a pandemic? A pandemic is defined as an outbreak of disease prevalent across a whole country or the world. Therefore, it naturally affects everyone in society in some way. So it says across a whole country or the world. So who is being affected by this pandemic right now? Only Barbados or the whole world?
The whole world.
Thank you, Danny. The whole world is being affected. And some others are being affected a whole lot worse than some other countries. You know, every time we see our numbers rising, and I really want to thank Pastor Blackman for seeing the importance of having a session like this. At this point in time, we are seeing our numbers increasing every single day. And I think we are almost at 700, or we're going over 700 active cases by now. So it's very important that we know what etiquette is, and not only know, but that we remind persons that we cannot afford to drop our guards such a time as this, because it is vitally, vitally important. So we have a pandemic, and we are told that a pandemic is an outbreak of disease prevalent across a country or whole world. And we just established that this particular pandemic is affecting the entire world. Okay? Barbados is a small country, but while we are small, to have 52 deaths, you know, seems like a lot. While with the large countries, they have thousands upon thousands of persons. So we can see that this pandemic is nothing to play with. Now I need you to tell me, the little ones that are on, this is youth service, so I'm going to be asking you to be doing most of the talking, more so than the adults. So I want, we establish what protocol is and what is a pandemic. And I want you now to tell me, somebody name the disease that has brought about this pandemic. Name the
COVID-19.
COVID-19. And who was that said that?
Jayla.
Jayla. Thank you, Jayla. Yes, COVID-19 brought about this pandemic. As I said earlier, if we are going to be defending ourselves against something, then we need to know as much as we can about it. So it won't be fair to just tell you don't do this and don't do that and not tell you why. Like for instance, don't tell me, it would be correct to say, well, don't play with Jayla. Tell me why I'm not supposed to play with Jayla. Right? Tell me, well, Jayla is not a very nice little girl because she's obedient at school and she's obedient to mommy and daddy at home. So I don't want you playing with Jayla because I don't want that rubbing off on you. You understand? So I just can come and tell you, well, you're not supposed to do this and not supposed to do that. But I am here to try my best to tell you why. Okay? But let me make it clear that Jayla is a very sweet little girl. Okay? So it's not the Jayla that is on this evening, probably another Jayla. So this is what COVID-19 seems to look like, according to what the scientists say, that when they look at it through a microscope, that it looks like things, not with the eyes and the teeth and the mouth though, okay? But this is acute COVID, but we know there's nothing cute about COVID. But as mainly relating to kids, I try to look for stuff that would appeal to them. So yeah, so this is COVID-19 is a virus that we are all fighting so desperately to bring under control. Any of the adults, I don't think any of the children may know this, but you remember what year we first heard about this disease? What year was it?
2019.
2019.
Exactly.
2020.
The reason why it's COVID-19, because yes, it came about in 2019. All right. Now, another thing that we have to know about the virus, which is very important, we need to know how is COVID-19 transmitted. Because if we are supposed to guard ourselves against it, it is very important that we know how it is transmitted, how we can catch it. So one of the first things that we have here is droplets or aerosols, okay? So we all know that it is transmitted by person to person, more or less. That is the main way in which it is transmitted, by person to person. And as I said, by understanding how it is spread, we can take the right steps so that we wouldn't get sick ourselves or we wouldn't infect other persons. So droplets or aerosols is the first thing that we're going to look at. And this is the most common way of transmission. When an infected person coughs or sneezes or talks, droplets that comes out of our mouth, those tiny particles, they are called aerosols, and they carry the virus into the air from their nose or mouth, right? These are persons who may be infected with it. So anyone who is within 6 feet of that person can breathe that into their lungs. So that is how it can be transmitted by droplets or aerosols, okay? And then, now I must remind you that I am going to be doing some recapping after the session. So it may be in your best interest if you want to jot down a few notes, okay? You may want to drop down a few notes. So that's when if I don't get any response from any volunteers, I may call some names, okay? The next point of transmission is airborne transmission. And by airborne, we mean that the researchers are now saying that the virus can actually live in the air for up to 3 hours. You can imagine that. It can get into your lungs if someone who has it breathe out, and then you breathe that air in. And to think that it can remain in the air for up to 3 hours is pretty scary. Okay, so that is droplets and aerosols, and then that is airborne. And we know that this particular one that we are fighting now, the one that is so easily transmitted, this one is said to be transmitted by the airborne transmission, okay? And then we have surface transmission. Can anybody tell me what surface transmission sounds like?
That's when anything drop on surface, anything that you touch.
Yes, Dora, that's correct. That is when you touch surfaces that someone who has the virus probably has even coughed or sneezed on. And then you may go and you touch that same surface. So it could be things like countertops. It could be things like doorknobs and so on that is contaminated. And then you go not knowing that, oh gosh, someone that is contaminated, someone that has the virus, just went and opened that door and then you touch the same door, right? Probably to go and use a bathroom or so on. That's why it's important that you use a tissue, all right? When you want to open doors in public, we have to be very, very careful now. It's okay if you are home, and even if you are home, I still find myself, and I'm at home and I'm always using Lysol to clean surfaces, even though I don't really entertain visitors right now. But I am still find myself always sanitizing, because this COVID-19 virus is really, really easily transmitted. So then you touch it on the top, doorknob, whatever, and then you touch certain parts of your body, your nose, your mouth, your eyes. And it's saying that the virus can live on surfaces such as plastic, stainless steel, for up to 2 or 3 days. Okay, so that is how it is transmitted. Can anybody tell me there are a whole lot of symptoms out there related to COVID-19 and signs and symptoms of the corona disease? may appear between 2 to 14 days after you have been exposed to the virus. Okay? And this time after exposure and having the symptoms, then it is called the incubation period. So can anybody tell me some of the symptoms of COVID-19? There are a lot of symptoms.
I've heard loss of smell.
Yes, loss of smell. Yes.
And tears.
Pardon?
Coughing. Loss of taste and coughing.
Loss of taste and coughing. Yes, keep it going.
Headaches,
Yes, headaches. Mm-hmm.
vomiting,
Yes, vomiting is another one. Mm-hmm.
Sore throat.
Pardon?
Sore throat.
Yes, sore throat is definitely one. Mm-hmm. There are still a whole lot more. Uh-huh.
Pink eye.
Pardon?
Pink eye.
Yes, pink eye is one. Mm-hmm. Pink
Fever.
eye is fever. Definitely, fever is one. Mm-hmm.
joint pain is one.
Joint pain is another one. Yes. Yes, joint pain, muscle aches. Yes, that's another one.
Fatigue.
Yes, fatigue is another one. So here is the list of the common signs and symptoms. Okay. Fever, cough, tiredness, shortness of breath, muscle aches, chills, sore throat, runny nose, headache, chest pain, pink eye, nausea, vomiting, I didn't hear diarrhea, and a rash, okay? And they're saying that children have similar symptoms to adults, but children's symptoms seem to be much milder. So that's why they are asking that we make sure that we make every precaution as well to secure the children. Now, so far I've heard about 3 variants also. Anybody can name any of the variants?
Delta.
The first one was Alpha. What is the name of the one right now that is so easily transmitted in Barbados?
Delta.
Yes,
Delta.
the Delta. And
Mu.
there's a new one now named MU.
Mu, yeah.
Name MU, another variant. And it is said that with this new one, that they are calling it variant of interest. They don't have much information on this one at all. But only this week, it was detected in St. Vincent and Jamaica. So it's very, very close. Who knows if it's not even in Barbados. But with these variants, it is, remember I said that it is very easily transmitted with the air and the aerosols and so on. So if, for instance, you are in a vehicle driving, it is more advisable that you lower the windows down and not use the AC, especially if you have someone else in your vehicle that you're giving a ride to. If you're home, try to keep as much windows and doors open, especially if you have visitors over, because with this particular Delta, it's saying that the particles can linger in the air up to 16 hours that I saw. And 16 hours is a lot of hours. So ventilation is vital. So a lot of people are merely stuck with the mindset of just hand sanitizing and hand washing. Then they're saying now that the actual message that should be going up there is the air that we are breathing. Okay, the air that we are breathing. So we have to be extremely careful. Okay, so now that we know what we're going to be protecting ourselves from, we are just going to remind, especially the children, all of the things that they are supposed to be doing. So
Can I ask a question?
Yes, please.
I see a list of all these symptoms here. Are these regular symptoms that any individual will have?
Some individuals, no, this will not, these symptoms, as far as I understand, will not be found in one single person. You may find that a person may have a fever, and that may be it. Some person may have a pink eye, and that may be it. Some, I think they said in the younger children, their symptom was mainly diarrhea. Mainly diarrhea, that is how they were detecting COVID-19 in children, because they were coming down with diarrhea. They weren't really having the runny nose and the headaches and the muscle pains, just diarrhea. So it is a very, very funny thing, but you'll most likely not find one person to have all of these symptoms.
I think what I gather here is that you might have some of these symptoms but not have COVID-19.
Right. That's what I'm thinking too.
Yeah, that's what I think. That's what's you might have the, but you might not have. But I guess, you know, everybody sends you. I mean, they rule out COVID-19 as the first thing, and then you work down the line. But you might have. Okay, I was just interjecting that.
Because if you look at this list, you will see that these are symptoms that we will have associated probably with just the normal flu, you know, and probably other things. But now, as we started out saying, if you cough, let me tell you, around some person that think you got COVID and get ready to take up the foot and run so hard from around you, okay? And, you know, you may just have a little nausea, oh gosh, but I think that persons know to having any of these, the first thing they're going to think, oh my gosh, you probably have COVID. But it may not be associated with that. You just coming down with a little normal flu or something, but they may show and put all of these out there. Okay, so the best thing, we find ourselves coming down with like 3 or 4 of these then to get checked out. That's what they're advising. That if you find that you are not feeling well, that you have a fever and you have a cough and you're feeling tired and all of this, that you get tests for COVID-19. But these symptoms here, there is a possibility that they are not associated with COVID, because we have seen all of these symptoms for years associated with other things. Okay? Anybody else want to say something? Okay. All right, so let's say we are going to have a little scenario now. We are going to go out. Let's say that we have somewhere to go and we are going to put all of our protocols in place. Okay, and the first thing I want to mention, and that is the wearing of face masks. Always wear a face mask. And I think this was the newest etiquette rule, that of wearing face masks. Now, the wearing of a face mask, it shows respect to those around you by keeping your germs to yourself. And I think that's one of the most polite things that you can do in the COVID-19 environment. All right, keep our germs to ourselves. And it's a simple etiquette lesson, I think, that even the smallest children can understand. Now, we know that it's a tall order to wear a mask for a very long time. It is extremely uncomfortable. I hate to be in a mask every day when I'm at the office. And if that is so uncomfortable for us as adults, we can understand how much more it is for little children. But masks will not protect against the virus if it is not worn, if it is worn incorrectly. So it is important that children be taught the right way to wear a face mask. Now I'm going to ask 2 persons, 3 persons from the Harvey's household. Okay, please turn your camera on. And we want you to show us how you were going to wear your face mask for us to see. So starting with Janae. Janae, let us see you. Your camera is on.
Sandra, I think in this case, you might have to stop sharing so that we can see them, right?
Okay, we can see the Harveys. The background look a little dark. Is that Janae? All right, and Janae is wearing her face mask over her forehead. Okay, so I want one other child to tell me, is that the correct way we should be wearing our face mask? Daniel, what do you think?
No, please.
Okay, no, sorry. All right, Janae. Jayla, let us see you wearing your face mask. Jayla? All right, so Jayla is wearing her face mask underneath her chin. All right, is Isabella on?
Yes, please.
So do you think that Jayla is wearing her face mask correctly? She has it underneath her chin. Is that the correct way that we should be wearing our face mask?
No, please.
Okay, sorry, Jayla. Is Juanita there? All right, Juanita, let me see how you're wearing your face mask. Oh, you're wearing your face mask, but I can see all of your nose, all of your nostrils. So neither of them are wearing their face mask correctly. All right, thank you very much. Okay, so we saw a demonstration just now of how we should not wear our face mask. All right, excuse me 1 second. Oh, sorry about that. I had the door bolt, so Pastor couldn't get in. Correct. So we see this little boy. You see how cute he is wearing his face mask? This is the correct way that the face mask should be worn. And I think teaching the proper way for any child above 2 years to wear a face mask is important. You have to ensure that the face mask is above your nose. His is above his nose, anchored underneath his chin, and there are no gaps at the side. Okay, so I think that parents, what you can also do to help create a system that would allow your children to check properly is first to check your mask first, then followed by checking theirs. So we want to adopt what we call a 3-point check system. All right, young children, 3-point check system. So we're gonna look in the mirror, I'm gonna say, nose covered, check. Mask on the chin, check. No gaps on the side. Okay, so we're gonna ensure that your face mask looks something like how mine looks right now. Nose covered, chin covered, and there are no spaces at the side. Okay. Now, can anybody tell me, some of the children, what are some of the things we shouldn't do with our face masks? What are some of the things that we shouldn't do with our face masks?
You should
Apart from, pardon?
with it.
Pardon?
You should not play with it.
Okay, we should not play with the face mask once we have it on. It's true, because it could be soiled, it could be contaminated. All right. Another important thing we don't want to do is that we don't want you want to swap your face mask. You see this little boy here has a plain face mask, but This other one here has on a pretty one. So we don't want you swapping face masks with your friend at school or whatever, because theirs may look prettier than yours, okay? Yours may look simple and plain like this little boy own, but yours may not be contaminated, but theirs may be contaminated. So because theirs look pretty, it may only be pretty on the outside, but it may actually be contaminated. So that was my reason for putting the pretty ones here next to the plain ones. Another thing we don't want you doing is do not take off your face mask in public. Okay, do not take it off in public. Always remember what I said about the aerosols being airborne for a lot of hours, 16 hours, whatever. So you don't know if any time you decide, oh, I'm going to take off this, to take a little breather, and you do so, you may just have breathing the virus. So we don't want you taking it off in public, okay? And we shouldn't reuse disposable masks either. If you're wearing a disposable mask, we don't want you bring it home Monday and put it down, take it up on Tuesday and wear it again. And then when we get to Friday, we decide, oh, we can throw it away now. Okay, so we don't want you doing any of those things. If you are wearing a cloth mask, we don't want you wearing that cloth mask for a whole week either without washing it. So every time you come home with your cloth mask, you should put it in some warm water, right? And then you should wash it the same time, okay? But it is being advised that we should wearing the disposable ones, especially with the Delta, because it seems to give you a better protection, okay? So the ultimate etiquette rule is to be considerate of those around you. Remember, I am going to recap after my presentation. The ultimate etiquette rule is to be considerate to those around you. It's the most polite behavior that you parents can teach your child. And this is a rule that hasn't changed over time. And it is a rule that will always be relevant, whether there's a pandemic or not. Okay. Now we're going to look at the whole topic of, okay, yes, this is another point I wanted to touch on. Every member of a family should have their own face mask. You see everybody in this family wearing a face mask, right? So if you in your family and you wear cloth masks, for instance, because your brother or your sister's mask can fit you, you shouldn't use theirs, okay? So everyone in the family should have their own face mask, okay? Now, physical distancing is the new personal space, all right? And we know that children are naturally physical and social. And one of the hardest things for children is physical distancing. It is extremely difficult to get this over to children. Children love to run and play. Yes, please? Hello?
Before you move on, you said that every person in the household should have their own face mask.
Yes.
So even if I have mine, my son has his, everybody has theirs, and they're washing them, you still should keep them separate.
Yes, I think that it should still keep them separate. Yes, this sounds like my friend. It sounds like my girl, Kathy, that had a personal invitation to.
Yes, please.
Yes, even though they're washing them and so on, I still think that this should be my face mask, and only my one should be wearing this face mask, even though we wash them. Okay? Even though we wash them. Yes. And remember that with the Delta, they're saying that the cloth is not giving a whole lot of protection against the Delta variant. So they're advising the more disposable ones. Yes. So anything else on face masks? You know that not everyone may be able to buy the disposable ones. Things are so expensive, and to be using them every day could be a great expense. So,
Sandra, can I say something?
yes, please.
Yes, I would also like to say that persons, especially children going to school, you're going to be at school the whole day. It is advisable that they probably have even at least 2 masks so that they can change maybe every 2 or 3 hours or so.
Okay.
That's one of the suggestions, even so that you're not wearing the same mask for a whole day.
The whole day. Correct. Correct. If I am working a whole day, I usually change my mask after 4 hours. I dispose of that one and then I put on a new one. Yeah, so that is another important point as well. Thank you, Sonia. Anybody else on face mask?
Yes. Yes. Sandra,
Yes, I'm listening.
with those disposable masks, they have like a fine something that is come off. When I use one of those, I got to lace it with Vicks. But with the
Okay.
cloth mask, I don't have to do that.
Oh, okay. I agree with you because if I ever put on a disposable face mask just like that, it always tickles me in my nose.
My hair looks dark there.
So I always spray the inside of my mask first with alcohol and then put it to dry for a couple of seconds, turn the fan on it or something like that before I put it on. But if I ever put on a disposable mask just like that out of the package, I am the most miserable person because I literally feel like something crawling up and down my nose. Yes, so I can identify with what you are saying, Shirley. I can definitely. So I don't ever. The first time it happened to me, I was so miserable, and I don't do it again. I don't do it again. I always take it and I get the alcohol and I spray the inside and then I put it by the fan so that it can dry in a couple of seconds. And then I put it on and I wear it like that. But not everyone may be as sensitive. I'm sure that people just put them on. Because my thing is that they are new, but not necessarily clean. That is my thing. When I saw a documentary when COVID first came up as to how they're being made, and I saw them I saw them on the floor, on the people's feet and that kind of thing, so on the people's shoes and so on. And I said, oh, they are new but not necessarily clean. So that was the reason too why I was very skeptical, just put them on my face just like that. Okay. All right. So can we move on to physical distancing?
Somebody has a hand up.
Oh, I didn't see the hand. Yes,
Yeah.
please.
What I was going to add though is that like everything else that you buy, you really should wash before you use.
Yeah.
You tend not to do that, but that is what we should do.
Yeah.
But I read somewhere that those are not as effective as the cloth mask. I don't know what to believe now.
I think it depends on how the cloth mask is made. And to me, once you make the cloth mask properly,
It's out of cotton.
and using the right materials,
Cotton, you should use cotton.
the cloth mask should be better than those things. But some people also put the disposable mask within the cloth mask to get the double protection. So you can do that as well.
I was hearing recently of some person who visited the doctor, and the doctor told them that they would like to make the recommendation to the government that persons to ban the use of cloth masks because the doctor said that he have come to realize that the cloth masks are not effective at all. So I don't know, because they are saying that even if you have on a cloth mask and for instance, and you sneeze, that some of the particles still come out. So as I say that with the Delta, it's kind of funny too, with it being in the arm, they're trying to say that these cannot really, they don't penetrate these as much as the cloth ones. So that is just the doctor's opinion. That's why he was saying that he would like the government to ban them.
There is a test that you can do with the cloth masks to see if they're effective.
Okay.
When you make the mask, you can hold a flame in front of your face, away from your face, of course. Blow through the mask, and if the air from your mouth is getting through that mask, then you will see the flame flicker or whatever. That is a test that is done, and I saw those tests on, online. That you can do that to check the effectiveness of the cloth mask.
Okay.
With those disposable masks, you can do that there quicker than you can do it with a cloth mask, because that there is lighter and you could blow through that, but you can't blow through a mask that somebody made, because they just double them.
In that the material that these are made out of are much better than cloth of itself. So I'm not certain. There's only what I recently heard that a doctor told a patient. That is what I heard. So can we go on quickly?
Cheers.
Cheers, hand is up. Kath, you want to say something?
Yes, please.
Go ahead, my dear.
What about a nurse said to me that you can wash the disposable masks in hot water and reuse them. What do you say to that?
Yes, I saw that's why I said earlier that it's advised that you always wash your cloth mask in warm water and not just come and wash it in cold water. For some reason, they say that you should always wash it in warm water. So you're correct. Okay. All right. So we were looking at physical distancing. Now, as I said, this is a new personal space. And it's very hard for children. Our children are naturally physical and social. So one of the hardest things for children is physical distancing. They love to run and play, and often they totally forget all about their surroundings. So children, we want to remind you this evening that you have an important job of keeping yourself and your family and the community healthy by physical distancing from others, especially at this time. And before the pandemic, the appropriate distance for social space was, can anybody tell me how many inches? How many inches was the appropriate distance? Anybody? Okay, it was 18 inches. Okay, with COVID, it has now become, can any bright little person tell me what is the physical distance now?
6 feet.
6 feet, are you certain?
Yes.
Sure, it's not 2 feet? Or 8 feet? You sure it's 6 feet?
Yes, I'm sure it's 6 feet.
Yes, it is now 6 feet. Okay, so here we see them practicing physical distancing, and we have the little boy and the little girl over there apart, but still together. For your safety and mine, please keep a safe distance. Your safety is our priority. So it is now 6 feet. And you can practice at home. There are a lot of signs and so on when we go into stores and we see lots of signage and so on showing us the physical distance is 6 feet and so on. You can teach your physical distancing, practice it. You can make it into a fun practice also, that the little ones can really get it into them. Even if there are the young children who are still with dolls, you can teach them to practice physical distancing with their dolls. Okay? And you see all these people here are practicing physical distancing. And you see how the corona lurking there, so in the atmosphere, lurking in the atmosphere. Okay, so we need to teach our children physical distancing. It is very important. And teach them that when anyone comes closer to them than that they're invading their personal space. All right, so now we have personal space. All right, so we want the children to have ownership of their bodies from very, very young. So if you find anyone invading your personal space, I want you to create additional space. Okay, so if someone is coming a little too close to you, I want you to create additional space. All right, now, so let's say for instance, you are going to a market and you're in line and you know it's 6 feet, but the person behind you, it looks as though they are only like 3 feet or like 2 feet really close up under you. Now that would maybe a bit difficult to create additional space, because if you create additional space, you are going closer to the person in front of you. Now let me see how you would say to this person, I want one body to do it correctly and the next person to do it impolitely. How are you going to create your own personal space? What are you going to say to this person? So I want 2 volunteers. I want one person to say politely, and I want one person not to be so polite. So the impolite person, please go first.
I Sandra, would like to go first.
Yeah, Shirley.
I went to the clinic and the guard put me to stay someplace. And then a gentleman came out of his car and come and stand up behind me. And I said, excuse me, sir, you're not practicing social distancing. You are too close to me. And he was vexed, but he moved.
Oh. Okay. But that's the important thing, that he moved. Okay. And you did yours, and that was polite.
Yeah, but right? I could do it the other way too. I could tell you, my man, you're too close to me. Go from behind me.
All right, sure. But I'm glad that you did it the polite way. Okay. So that was Shirley, and she did hers the polite way. Anybody else would like to say anything on physical distancing?
But what I did was I saw somebody coming close to me, and I said, you know what? We're moving against these markers on the ground.
Okay. Yeah, so we have to be aware now of our personal space. We cannot allow persons to come into our personal space. Okay? Because we don't want to get infected. Remember, with this virus, you can't tell by looking. We cannot tell by looking who has the virus. Okay? So that was it on physical distancing. Can we go on further? Okay. So we are going to shaking hands or touching with our hands. And you know, talking about viruses is kind of abstract when it comes to children. Children need to be able to visualize the concept in order to understand sometimes what you're saying to them, especially the very young children. So a simple lesson, a simple demonstration that we can use is Joshua there, Shirley. Joshua?
Pardon?
Yes,
Joshua.
please, I'm still here.
Joshua, you're there?
I'm still here. Yes, please.
So you are ready to do the little demonstration?
Yes, please.
Okay, so let's see you. And Josh is going to demonstrate. I can't see you. Okay, fine. Okay, go ahead.
Okay, let me try to. Right.
Okay, we can see you, Josh.
I'm trying to change the background so you can actually see the.
If it's taking too long, you can still try to do the demonstration and we will tell you if you can see it or not. Oh, okay. All right, so as I was just saying, that sometimes it's be hard for our children to understand abstract
So you
things,
have
that we need to visualize some things for them. So we're talking about using hands and we're talking about shaking hands. Okay, once before time, then we were not in the COVID environment. It was very easy for it would come over as being very polite for us to be shaking hands and so on. But no, we have to abandon that. But I want Josh to demonstrate for us, Joshua.
all right.
By putting his handprint. Yes. Okay.
So touch, touch. And I don't know if you can see, but we have print.
Okay. So Joshua is demonstrating if he had to shake some person hand has germs on it. And then he go and each handprint that he made just now represents him shaking somebody else's hand or touching somebody else's hand. Okay? And he is going to do he would go on doing that till he can't see any imprint at all whatsoever on that piece of cardboard. So this activity helps us to understand that the impact of these germs can have, because germs, as I said, are invisible. Okay? So you can see that Joshua is still going. Yes, and we see that those are lots of germs that Joshua just shared. If it was actual germs, and he was actually shaking someone's hand. Thank you very much for the demonstration, Josh. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, so we have to be very careful. So while I said shake hands were once seen as polite, and hugs and so on from friends and family and neighbors, and even though sometimes in this COVID environment, some person may say, but I could really do with a hug, you know, in these times that we're in. But we now have to give a little friendly wave because it is not safe at all to be shaking hands. Okay, that little dark boy, they look so cute shaking hands, and all of these children here so touching each other with their hands. I don't know when I was going to school, we used to have a whole lot of hand games, but now you go to school and children, they're not allowed to do these things anymore. So unfortunately, we have to cut out all of the hand touching and so on to avoid contracting COVID-19. It is sad, but so we would not become sick, we have to stop all of the hand touching. Anybody want to say anything on this one? Because what we do with our hands now plays a really big role in the pandemic. Okay, so I want to go quickly, just two more. I want to go on how to sneeze during a pandemic. Okay, how to sneeze during a pandemic. Now, sneezing used to be very, to be a low key sign that someone was getting sick or had allergies, and sneezing into the elbow was a polite way to indicate that those around us we didn't want to give them what we might have. Also, because the coronavirus, which has infected and killed millions of persons around the world, could have been so easily spread to persons by sneezing. So in the midst of a pandemic that we are in, elbows may no longer be just enough. When we sneeze, cough, or talk, remember different amounts of droplets, they are released in the air. And look at this man and how much droplets came out of his mouth when he sneezed. That had to be a real big sneeze, and I am very glad that I wasn't near him. Okay, so when you cough or sneeze, these particles here can travel much further than they usually would by just talking at normally or just exhaling normally. So covering sneezes with your elbows, it actually is relatively new. This came about in 2006 when we had another respiratory virus named SARS that originated in Asia. And a video was actually released showing how to sneeze into your elbows. But the coronavirus appears to transmit more easily than the SARS. And because of the amount of the virus appears to be highest in the nose and the throat of infected people. So that is why the virus, the COVID-19 virus, everyone needs to be careful to cover their sneezes, because those who don't even know they are sick, they could be the most contagious. Okay, so sneezing now is a real serious thing. So whether you should sneeze in your elbow or not is not a simple yes or no answer. But the goal is to keep your particles away from other people and keep other people's particles away from you.
Sister
And that
Sandra,
is where the hand mask comes in handy.
Yes, please. What about those individuals whose hands are not able to reach where they can sneeze? And for those individuals who have who don't have hands, you know, there's some children who are, I don't want to use the word handicap, or individuals who are handicapped or disabled.
Okay. Well, okay, so we have the man here with the particles. We have a child here. I'm showing she's sneezing in her elbow. But if the person don't have hands, or they are disabled and their hands can't reach up there, you would hope that they're wearing a face mask. Okay? So then they will sneeze in their mask because they do not have a choice. So people will ask whether sneezing now in a face mask is appropriate, if it's safe or if it is polite. I think that remains kind of undetermined, because if you don't have a choice, that's the only place you will have to sneeze is in it. So the reason we're asking people is that we want to reduce, as I said, the amount of those particles that can travel really, really far. And I mean, this man he sneezed really hard, right? And while they're saying again that the homemade ones doesn't prevent every single trajectory, but it does help with a whole lot of them. But sneezing into a mask can make it wet, okay? And which makes it, I suppose, less effective. This happened to me today. As soon as I got to work, but I had on my face mask before I got up my car. And as soon as I get up my desk, I don't know, but I just had this big sneeze, and they had to take it off and throw it in the garbage and put on a new one. Because this means now that it's important for adults, not only children now who go in school, to travel with more than one mask. Because if you sneeze in your mask and it's all wet and everything, it may not, I don't know how comfortable it may feel for you, but for me, I won't feel comfortable that I just sneeze in my mask and then have to continue in it for the next couple of hours or so on. So it may be good for us to walk with a backup. Okay, that answers your question, Sister Anna?
Yes, thank you.
Okay, it's also suggested that we sneeze into a tissue. And we see our little friend here has a tissue in his hand. But how easy is it for a child? This may be more appropriate for an adult that may feel a sneeze coming on and have time to get a tissue. But little child now, as soon as they have the need to sneeze, the sneeze is just there, right? So, but if we have to sneeze into a tissue, remember, be sure to dispose of the tissue in a safe way, but also immediately clean your hands very well, either with hand sanitizer if they're not soap and water around. And we should do it for how many seconds? I want a child to tell me for how many seconds should we wash our hands for?
20 seconds.
Right, 20 seconds, yes. So the long and short is that sneezing in the elbow tactic is approved as long as you remain aware of the fact though that you may have, when you sneeze, you may have droplets, okay, in your inner elbow now. As long as those, they could become infected. So it is recommended that after you sneeze in your elbow, don't go hugging nobody. Okay, but anyhow, it's something that we shouldn't be doing anyway, since we are now practicing physical distancing. All right, so the next safe option to us as it relates to sneezing is that the safest place to sneeze is on the outside. If you're outside and you're near persons and you can just try to move away like 15 to 20 feet away from those persons and do your sneeze at that distance, that is the safest way to sneeze during a pandemic. Do we have any questions on sneezing? Anything anyone would want to say? Okay.
Oh, how about you know, sometimes you go to, say you go to the supermarket or you go on the stores in town, and there would have, because I've seen it happen, they have some of them have instant, some have just spray the store or whatever, because some of these sprayers, you know, they give out a scent that, you know, it causes people to sneeze. When that happens and you go in the store and you sneeze, you have to sneeze. Or you
Yes,
sneeze.
you have to sneeze, you have to sneeze. But as I said, for me, I would have my backup mask to put on because it may feel wet and so on to me. But yes, you're correct. And I find that I personally find that I can't tolerate the scents of all of them, especially, oh God, the one that named beet, I cannot handle beet.
Oh, nice.
I can only tolerate Lysol. And we know Lysol is kind of
mild,
difficult, yes, to get by. So a lot of and it's very, very expensive, the Lysol sprays.
But
so,
even the antibacterial spray, when you tell you to spray with, I buy it and I spray, but sometimes at the moment I have to get out of the house.
Yes.
I have to go outside.
Yes.
And I
find, yes, you are correct. They tend to irritate. The minute that that is sprayed around me, I get an instant headache and my chest gets tight the same time. I don't know what is it that they're putting in. Those that they don't put in the Lysol, but they definitely don't have the same thing in them. Anybody else? If not, we are going to the last one. Okay. So much for our sneezes. And the one that we would consider as vitally important, hand washing it correctly. Okay, hand washing. So practicing good hygiene in this COVID-19 environment is more important now than ever. And in this COVID-19 environment, we were warned not to touch 3 parts of our body. What are those 3 parts? Any of the children know?
Your face.
The This part of your face?
Your nose, your eyes.
And what else? Your eyes, your nose, and what else?
Your eyes.
So there we have them. Avoid touching your eyes, nose, and mouth with unwashed hands. Okay? Frequent hand washing and sanitizing can kill these germs. If you put your hands and your eyes and your nose and your mouth, germs can easily enter your body that way. Okay, so we are supposed to wash our hands, all right? And we are supposed to wash our hands frequently. Okay, frequently. And here we have, here so we can see this person is using the bathroom. But you see the arrow is pointing that as soon as they leave the bathroom, they came here to wash their hands. All right, mommy's up here changing baby's diaper. And as soon as mommy's finished, the arrow is pointing that mommy is going to wash her hands. Okay, then mommy is going to cook, but she's going to wash her hands before she starts to cook. And she's going to feed the baby. She's going to wash her hands before she feeds the baby and before she herself eats. So we have to wash our hands before we do a whole lot of things. Okay, hands washing frequently, and we need to wash our hands as often as we can. Now, if you don't have soap and water, sanitizer works as well. Now look, all of the germs that is on his hand. Do you all see those germs, children? But we cannot see those germs with the naked eye. But look how many germs on his hand. But you know what? He's going to wash his hands with soap and water for 20 seconds. And then he is going to get rid of all of those germs. Okay? So here is steps, the 9 steps of correct hand washing. We have the 9 steps here of correct hand washing. So what is the first thing we are supposed to do? Let me hear one of the children. What's the first thing you're supposed to do? Back to your hand. Okay, what is the second thing? I'm only hearing the Harvey's household. Let me hear Daniel. What's the second thing? Danielle? Okay, apply soap. And then after we've wet our hands and we apply the soap, we have to rub the palm of our hands. And then we're supposed to scrub between all of the fingers, the back and the front of the fingers. Don't forget the thumb. We're supposed to wash that thumb, and then we're supposed to clean underneath the fingers and all of this, yes. And then you're supposed to even wash a little hair up here by the wrist, and then you're supposed to rinse your hands, okay? So then we're supposed to dry them in something clean. All right, so this is the correct way of hand washing. And here we have this little like Tom the cat. He has his own little song that he sings when he is washing his hands, and he's singing to the happy birthday song. All right. So this is his happy birthday song. I believe it goes like, we don't want the flu. We know what to do. We'll wash all the germs off, and you should wash too. Something like that. Okay, so that is what we should do in terms of hand washing. But we have some very creative young people on this chat. All right, so we don't normally have to go with Tomcat song. Okay, so I have asked 2 of my girls to come up with a little jingle to their own hand washing song. Are you all ready? Janae?
A, B, C, D, E, F.
Yes, go ahead. Start over again.
A, B,
But we want to see you. We want to see you actually doing the actions too. So turn on the video so we can see you singing the song and washing your hands.
A, B, C, D, E, F, G.
And the city hand washing.
Wash your hands, keep them clean. 50, no, 10, no, 20, yes, wash them very good. A, B, C, D, E, F, G. That is how you keep them clean.
All right. I think everybody can unmute and give Janae a hand for that.
Yeah, very good.
All right, Jayla, let's hear your song. Jayla. Jayla, yes. Well, I want to see your hands washing too, no? Go ahead.
This is how you wash your hands. You get some soap and you put it in your hands. You rub them together for 10 seconds and you turn on the tap and wash them off. That is how you wash your hands. The end.
Okay. Remember, it's for 20 seconds. Okay. So thank you very much. I kept the young people quite busy. And now we are coming to the end. So you know what we're going to do? We're going to recap. Quickly, we are just going to recap. So anybody tell me quickly, what is etiquette? What is etiquette? If it takes too long, I'm going to, yes, go ahead.
Etiquette.
Yes, go ahead.
Etiquette is the same thing as having manners.
All right. We'll give you a hand for that. Yes, it's a set of rules governing the polite way of doing something. So basically, it's good manners. Thank you. What is a pandemic? Anybody remember what is a pandemic?
A disease that affects the entire world.
Very good. Now, name the virus that's responsible for this pandemic.
The COVID-19.
Yes, COVID-19. Yes, or coronavirus. Very good. Now, I want 2 persons to list. Tell me 3 ways in which COVID-19 is transmitted. How is COVID-19 transmitted? I'm picking on Kathy Chase. Kathy, tell me.
I was just about to tell you, oh boy, I'm going to get ready for my youth service anyhow.
Aerosols, that would help you, Kathy. Aerosols.
And surface and droplets.
Yes.
Airborne.
Yes, drop cells are aerosols, airborne transmission, and surface transmission. All right, Kathy, you get off. You run along. Thanks for joining and have a good session in your youth service.
Nice to be here.
Okay, thanks, girl.
Okay.
Okay. I want,
Thank
is
you
Danielle
too.
there?
Bye.
Danielle is there? All right, I want someone to list some of the symptoms of COVID-19. List some of the symptoms.
Adeline are also there.
Who's there?
I was saying that Karen, Samuel, and Adeline, I didn't hear them all the evening.
Yes, can each of you please give me one of the symptoms of COVID-19? Kara, Samuel? Quickly, one of the symptoms, there's so many of them.
Fever.
Fever, yes. What else?
Coughing and sneezing.
Coughing. Mm-hmm. What's the other one?
Diarrhea.
Yes, diarrhea is another one. Okay. Yes, please. Diarrhea. Okay, I want some person to list, at least give me at least the name of one of the variants. One of the variants?
The MU variant.
Yes, yes, the MU variant. Yes, that is the latest one, the MU variant. What are the 3 points we should check when we put on our face mask to make sure that they're all covered? Quickly, those 3 points, please.
Over your nose,
Nose, mouth, and chin.
Nose, your chin, yes, your mouth, and their nose, yes. Yes. Very good. Name 3 things we shouldn't do with our face mask. 3 things we shouldn't do with our face mask.
Swap them.
Yes, we shouldn't swap them. Children, please remember that. Yes, another one.
Play with them.
Play with them. Some two.
We're over a mask.
Exactly, wear them over and over. Yes. Okay. What is the ultimate etiquette rule? This is a hard one, so you're calling on Pastor Blackman. What is the ultimate etiquette rule?
The ultimate respect people's space.
To be considerate, yes, of those around you, yes.
Just keep your dreams to yourself, as we say.
Understand? And what is the new personal space called? What is our new personal? Yes, physical or social distancing. Okay. One of the children, what is the correct distance? 3 feet, 6 feet, or 100 feet?
6 feet.
One of the children, quickly.
6 feet.
6 feet. Very, very good. And what are the 3 areas we should avoid touching on our face? 3 areas, quickly.
Eyes, nose, and mouth.
Very good. Very good. And what is that one thing that we should do regularly? What is that one thing we should do regularly?
Wash your hands.
Yes, wash your hands. And how long we should wash our hands for? 1 second, 25 seconds, 100 seconds, or 20 seconds?
20 seconds.
20 seconds. Yes. And finally, what are the protocols for sneezing in this pandemic? What are the protocols for sneezing in this pandemic?
Sneeze in your mask or a tissue and dispose of it carefully.
Yes, please. Yes, please. So let us follow all the protocols and beat COVID-19. So we see them here. Wash your hands, sanitize, wear your mask. Don't touch your face. If you have to use a tissue, if you cash it, bin it, put it in a bin, and then kill it by sanitizing. Okay? And look here, and we see this gentleman. He has a sword, and he is putting some licks in Mr. COVID. You see how Mr. COVID face look? But he is not physically beating him with his washing hands properly, maintaining hygiene, maintaining social distancing, greeting without touching. Okay, and look at Mr. COVID face. You see Mr. COVID face? Yes, Mr. COVID face. So let us practice all of the protocols daily as if our lives depend on it, because it does. Thank you and keep safe. Thank you so much for your participation. It was a pleasure being your presenter for this evening. God bless.
Well,
Sis,
thank you.
Can I say something?
Sure, Sister Alder, you may do so.
I remember there are times when the children would go out to the bathroom to wash their hands, and they're washing and washing and washing. And we would quarrel with them for wasting water. And now look how things have turned. We've got to spend so much time now to wash our hands. Thank you.
Yeah.
I just want to say, I have a Maya Village. I think this is my supervisor's daughter. Maya is a very sweet 12-year-old. She attends the United Holy Church of America, and she's very active in her church, the choir, everything Amaya is a part of, and she attends Harrison's College. Amaya, thank you so much for joining this evening. Okay?
Okay, so we want to thank all the visitors this evening. We want to thank Sister Sandra for a well-presented and prepared talk to us this evening. We want to thank you for all the visitors that you have invited. Our attendance was 24. We had 6 from one household, and we had 18 other people at one time. So that is 1 plus 6, or anyway, but you told me 6 and 1. So I hope I got it right. So yeah, we have Adeline. Yeah, we have about 26, because then you have Adeline and Carol. So I always gauge my session by Adeline. Adeline, how did you find the session this evening?
Good.
Oh, wonderful. Sister Sandra, Adeline said you were good. So that is our 4-year-old for those in the group. That's our 4-year-old in the group. So once the 4-year-old could understand, everybody else should have learned something. But I want to let y'all know that next week you have a doctor who's going to come in to share with us next week on the same variants. Now, I myself getting a little confused with all these variances. I mean, you get one thing, you hear the next thing. So we're going to have a doctor come in. Her name is Dr. Adana Garrison, and she's going to come and she's going to talk to us. And she knows she's talking to youth. So you can talk to her. You can have any questions, any things that bother your mind, and you can't really understand any double talk that you're hearing and you're being confused. Prepare those questions for the doctor. She's coming and she's going to talk to us next week, Youth Connect, so you can invite your friends. It's going to be a very small personal space, so you could be free and, at liberty to discuss, because there's so many different points of view that are out there, and you have to come with your own after you do your own research. So next week, we're going to have a doctor in the house and talking to us close up. That is, so you can join us next week, same time, same ID, same passcode. So we're going to thank you for joining us. And so I will share this around. The passcode, like I said, is the same. And the time is the same. It's just that the Friday is different. So it's next Friday. So do have a wonderful evening. I am going to ask, who am I going to ask to pray for us? Is Amaya, who is from the Holy Church of it? Amaya? Yeah? Can I ask you to pray for us then?
Hear me?
I can hear you now.
Father Lord, thank you for bringing us here and for letting us learn something. It was wonderful. We learned how to wear a mask correctly, social distancing, and how we should not share our masks or lend out or reuse our masks. Let everything that is said be carried on. And I hope that COVID-19 gets better here. Amen.
Amen. Thank you so much. I hope I didn't put you on the spot, but thank you. We want to welcome back Lizzie.
Maya.
Yeah, we want to thank about, we're happy that you joined us this evening, and we are happy that all of you joined. We want to say congratulations to those who were successful in the common entrance, Danielle and Sister Alder's grandson. So they are probably breathing a sigh of relief. as they now pace themselves into the next level, and all those who are going to the next level. So God bless you and have a wonderful weekend. Stay safe, wear your mask, and God is our ultimate protector. He will protect us.
Yes.
So God bless you. Let's do the right thing and leave the rest up to him.
All right. God bless you too.
God bless
Okay.
you. Have a good
All
weekend.
right. Thank you.
Enjoy yourself.
All right.
Okay, bye. And the beach is still open.
It's true.
Clean water, clean air.
It's true.
And you can physical distance all you like.
All you want.
Even in the ocean. Thanks,
So
Sister
true.
Sandra. Have a good evening,
Okay.
everyone.
Bye-bye, you too.
Good evening, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.